Formula One is back, ladies and gentlemen. 215 days ago, we went lights out for the final race in 2019. We didn't get going for the Melbourne Grand Prix, but finally, this weekend, round one of the 2020 season here in Austria. This weekend's race marks the first of three back-to-back Grand Prix. Next weekend, we return to the exact same circuit for the Steiermark Grand Prix before heading to Hungary on the 19th of July. Two British Grand Prix this year in early August, followed by a Spanish Grand Prix in the middle of summer. The Belgian and Italian Grand Prix round out our first 8 races of 2020. Last season at this exact circuit, it was Max Verstappen taking the victory on race day after a fantastic fight with Charles Leclerc, who himself led most of the Grand Prix and also claimed his second ever pole position in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel struggled in race day, but Valtteri Bottas rounded out the top 3. Last season, your Drivers' Championship looked a little bit like this, with Lewis Hamilton claiming his 6th world title, Valtteri Bottas making it a Mercedes 1-2. Max Verstappen claimed 3rd overall, with Leclerc for his first year in Ferrari beating out 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel, and your best of the rest, Carlos Sainz for McLaren. Your team's championship looks like this: Mercedes dominant over the course of the season, but it was Ferrari claiming 2nd place. Red Bull with second driver issues throughout the season, ending up 3rd. Best of the rest with McLaren, with Renault close in behind. Williams scored 1 single point and will look to do even better this season. Quick announcement for you: this year I will be covering in more detail Formula 2, throwing it into the mix for these weekend previews and also the race reviews on Saturday and Sunday. Nick De Vries was your champion and as such will not be able to return to the series this year, and Nicholas Latifi, who was runner-up to De Vries, is making his debut in Formula 1 this very weekend for Williams. Luca Giotto was 3rd, the highest placed rookie was Guan Yu Zhou down in 7th place, and Antoine Hubert rounded out the top 10. And for previews in the future, of course, we will show the current standings, but at the moment, it is all even Stevens. Tyre choice this weekend in Formula 1, the hard tyres are C2, medium C3, soft C4, with all teams running the exact same number of each tyre: 2 hards, 3 mediums and 8 softs, and of course 1 mandatory pit stop required during the Grand Prix. Your weather this weekend looks a little bit spicy, especially on the Friday. Thunderstorms expected with a 40% chance of rain. Qualifying day looks a little bit nicer for the drivers, cloudy conditions with a 6% chance of rain. And Sunday, though it looks to be primarily dry, there is indeed a 25% chance of rain. And my goodness me, what a spicy start to the season that would be, with rusty drivers in wet conditions. Right, shall we get this show on the road, starting off with your hot lap for the Austrian Grand Prix. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your hot lap for the 2020 Red Bull Ring Austrian Grand Prix. We join Alexander Albon in the Red Bull on board for this hot lap this weekend into turn 1, making sure we nail bang and bang both apexes, entry and exit, because heading up towards the silent turn 2 and 3, DRS will be in effect. Crucial for qualifying, even more crucial for overtaking midway through the Grand Prix. Turn 3, another really tight right-hander, but this one is so crucial. Lap 1, scraps galore, heading towards turn 4. DRS once again in effect for the 2nd consecutive straight. Turn 4, one of the prime overtaking opportunities throughout the race. As we head into sector 2, overtake opportunities become far more minimal, but this sector with 2 tight right-handers and left-handers is crucial for qualifying, making sure you've got the guts to go through these consecutive corners almost flat out. With 2 to go now, the very short lap here in Austria is make or break, hugging that apex of the penultimate corner, and the final one a little bit more slower on entry, but on exit it's as easy as you like. And that is your lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Heading over now to the newsroom. My goodness, have I missed the newsroom. Of course, covering 6 months worth of news doesn't quite fit very well into today's episode, so I'm only going to cover this week's news. But if you want to keep up to date or look back at any of the news so far in 2020, I've done a whole separate video covering all of the big stories. That was about last week. I think it's called Formula 1 2020 so far. That doesn't mean that there's not been news this week, and the huge story right at the beginning of the week was Mercedes launching a brand new livery for the 2020 season in support of the BLM Black Lives Matter movement. First of all, the livery itself is so nice. Getting rid of the silver livery, the silver arrows. A lot of people joking saying they're going to the black arrows, but I've always considered it the silver arrows because of their logo. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section down below. But in support of BLM, a fantastic thing for the team to do and the team to support. And very much here at F1 Reviews, we're behind the message Mercedes are trying to get across. The We Racers 1 campaign is also continuing to grow. This week we have seen implementation on the brand new Mercedes of the We Racers 1 logo, likewise on the new Williams livery, and McLaren this weekend have unveiled a slightly differing livery from the one we saw in testing, incorporating the halo with the rainbow on, and also a new side pod design with the rainbow on. The safety car also has had a bit of a refresh in terms of livery, with a huge rainbow over the side featuring the We Racers 1 logo, but I'd keep your eye out over the weekend because I imagine a few more teams will be spicing up their livery with the We Racers 1 branding. And finally, in the news this week, we all suspected that there would be plenty of announcement regarding reserve drivers, and this week Sergei Sirotkin was announced that he will be continuing his work with Renault this season, and for whatever reason, if Daniel Ricciardo or Esteban Ocon is unable to attend a Grand Prix this year, it will be Sergei Sirotkin stepping in for Renault. That's it for the news this week, and we will swiftly move on to my favourite part of the previews. I have missed this. Prediction time. Predictions for round 1, the Austrian Grand Prix, look a little bit like this. Qualifying, I've gone with a Max Verstappen pole position, shared front row with Lewis Hamilton, with Bottas in P3. But come race day, I think Valtteri is going to take this one, ladies and gentlemen. However, like we discussed at the beginning of the video, if there is a bit of rain this weekend, maybe that swings into Verstappen and Hamilton's favour. But I think Valtteri, if he's potentially on an alternate strategy, and if Hamilton and Max are fighting up front, keep an eye out for the Finn. I put Vettel 4th and Leclerc P5, but stories this week that potentially Ferrari aren't happy with their car and upgrades will come in Hungary. Maybe I'm overlooking Alex Albon for this weekend, and maybe he could potentially be challenging for a first podium in Formula 1. I'm going to continue what I did last year, so this is your grid, and I'd love to know your predictions in the comment section down below. I want to know your pole position, your front row, and your biggest shock in qualifying, and in the race, the winner, who's going to be on the podium, first retirement, driver of the day, and best of the rest. And I'll feature my favourites in tomorrow's video. So if you want your chance to be featured, follow the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Fantasy League is back for this season. The F1 Reviews official Formula 1 Fantasy League is open. It's been open for quite some time now. The code is there on screen. My team looks a little bit like this. I've got Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. Sergio Perez is my turbo driver. Of course, I'm going to put Romain Grosjean in the Grosjean Army team. And George Russell makes up my 98.9 million squad. Code is down below. Over 1,000 of you have already joined, and I want to keep up to date with this a little bit more this year and feature those who are winning, those who are doing well in the previews before a weekend. And finally, this is what your weekend schedule looks like. Tomorrow, Formula 1 and Formula 2 returns. Practice at 10 o'clock BST for Practice 1 for Formula 1. Practice 2 a couple of hours later at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have our first official competitive session of the year, Formula 2 qualifying at 4 o'clock. Saturday, Practice 3 in the morning, and our first official Formula 1 session, 2 o'clock qualifying. Cannot wait. And of course, our first race of the year, the Formula 2 feature race, will follow qualifying of Formula 1. And then it's the big day, ladies and gents. Sunday, 10 past 10, the Formula 2 sprint race. And Formula 1 Grand Prix return at 10 past 2. Cannot wait. And that is your lot for the first preview of this season. I hope you've all enjoyed this revamped and fresh look for the preview. I've been waiting so long to launch this video, and I just want to throw in a quick thank you to all of you that have stuck with the channel, that have joined the channel over these past 6 months. It's been a long time, it's been difficult, but we finally got through it, and I really can't thank you enough. We've trialled new things with the weekly mailbox, Twitch streaming. It's been such a great time, so thank you. As always, if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. 72% of you watching aren't subscribed, so it would be massively appreciated. Drop a like if you enjoyed, dislike if you didn't, and it'd be really helpful if you've got any more ideas to throw into the weekend preview. Enjoy the racing this weekend, guys, and I hope to see you all in the next one.